Hello, welcome to Walk with Raya. I am so passionate about walking and moving my body, and I want to do it with you. So come with me for a 15-minute walk and chat. Hello guys, welcome to my next episode of Walk with Raya. By the way, I look a bit like a boy right now. I apologise. I'm currently in Ipswich and it's like really beautiful, nice warm days, but then as soon as it hits about 4 p.m, it is freezing. Like my hands are frosty, so I'm all beanied up, got my nice big jumper on, and I'm gonna go for a quick walk to have a chat with you all. So I've been having a fair few messages about wanting to know more information about Jordan and my love story. So I thought I would share some things. I'm still like praying into how much detail I go into some things. So you'll notice some things I just kind of cut where it is, and then, you know, like I'll see whether I go into more information. But obviously if you have any questions just after you listen to this or watch this or come for a walk with me, by the way, literally, I really hope that you're walking as you're listening to this, because that's the whole point of this. I want to get people active and bring optimal health to them in all the different ways. And walking is just so great for you. So hopefully you're walking. If you're not, I'm not going to judge you. And you're still welcome here. But if you can, go for a walk. Anyways, so obviously you guys know I'm all about like health and wellness and like encouraging people to live their healthiest and happiest self. And part of that is relationships. So you'll notice last episode I spoke about healthy relationships, and I went into a fair bit of detail in a few different aspects of healthy relationships and how I think it's so important for overall health. And obviously, like, who you marry is a big deal. So that's why I want to go into it this time, this episode. And obviously, because so many people have been like, yes, I want to know about how you and Jordan met. Because you see, so Jordan and I, I'll go into like, you know, start from the start kind of vibe, but I just want to quickly explain the shock that, so people that knew both of us, just the shock that everyone felt when we announced that we were married, because we didn't tell anyone that we were dating. We didn't tell, like, I don't know, like no one knew, like we didn't publicize anything. We were never like Facebook official or anything like that. So it was a massive surprise to people. But I do want to, you know, give you the ins and outs of how it all happened, how it went down. So Jordan and I became friends, man, how many years ago was it? I was 25. So it would have been, but like almost 26. No, I reckon I was 26. So I became a Christian when I was 25. I spoke about that in the previous episode as well. And when I turned 26, I was living back in Warrnambool in my hometown, after going and doing like a Bible study, a Bible school thing, and meeting lots of awesome people. And I was kind of feeling a little bit down because I was back in my hometown. I didn't really have I didn't feel like I was being very purposeful in like my walk with God at all. I didn't know what exactly He wanted me to do. And I also didn't really have like Christian community as such. I came from a very, very small church, and it was like, you know, like a lot of like an older generation kind of church, which, don't get me wrong, like I love all the oldies and I'm all for like connecting with people from different generations, because I just think that there's so much goodness found in like, you can just learn just older women. I want to like learn from them. I want to learn from their mistakes, but also learn from their successes. Like I want to hear, you know, like how their marriages were, because I just find there's so many hidden gems. And if we don't have those conversations with people outside our generation level or whatever, then I just feel like we miss out on so many hidden gems, so much wisdom. So yeah, I really loved my church, but it was there wasn't many young people. I didn't really like have my people, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was feeling a little bit down, and it was so funny because Jordan actually became a Christian again at age 25 as well. We were both 25 when we decided to fully live our life for the Lord. And yeah, I ended up, I was working at my old gym as well when I got back from Bible school, which was awesome. It was so good working there. So Jordan actually ended up being sponsored by our gym because he was a professional FMX rider. So our gym actually decided to like sponsor him and give him like a free gym membership. And it was really funny because I actually met him the first time at the gym, I seen him a couple of times there, and I was thinking like, oh, I don't know who that is. Like, he wasn't very strong, didn't really look like he knew what he was doing very well. Sorry, I'm a bit judgy there. That makes you sound really mean. But the first time we spoke, he actually came and asked me where a certain piece of equipment was, and I was like, oh, it's just over here. And I was like, I wonder who this guy is. And so I asked Beth, the gym manager at the time, so she was like on the computer, and I said, can you look up Jordan Gilly? Like, I want to know how old he is. I just want to know about him. Sorry, I'm turning around because there's just so many dogs barking up this street. I should have went and did my talk on another street where there wasn't so many dogs barking at me. But anyway, so we ended up Instagram stalking him, and I was like, oh, like, he's a Christian. That's really cool. And I'm like, wow, he's obviously really good at riding, because pretty much his whole Instagram feed was just filled with motorbikes, and then also cars that he'd obviously owned over the years. He was one of those boys. Anyway, we ended up becoming pretty good friends. I got involved with his young adults group because at their church, they had a pretty big young adults group. So they'd do like a lot of social things together, and it was really, really good. It was kind of like a weird time for me in my church. This is what I don't really want to go into detail with too much. But there was definitely a lot of things said to me that kind of warned me, I guess, against like getting too close to Jordan. Lots of different reasons, again, as I won't go into much information. But I was stuck in a really hard place because I was like, I don't know, like, this dude is really cool. Like, I've really enjoyed spending time with him. And the more we got to spend time with each other, the more I realized like how on par we were, like how we both were so focused on, you know, glorifying God and like just living our lives for Jesus and just loving people and encouraging people. Like, we both just had the same kind of like drive and mission to like just make people feel loved. And we would do Bible studies together. We had another really close friend. We called ourselves the Three Musketeers. So that's my beautiful friend Tess from Canada. Hi Tess, I love you. I miss you. But yeah, we'd like do Bible studies together, and it got to the point where Jordan had so many different projects going on. So he was building a house, he was renovating another house, he was building his van, and he decided he was going to end up going to YWAM, so Youth with a Mission in Sunshine Coast, in like 6 months from then. So this was like July the following year after we first became friends. And at around the same time, I actually decided that I was going to go and live in my van. I just had so many confusing thoughts of like where God wanted me to live and like what church he wanted me to be a part of. And there was just so many thoughts going on in my brain. I was like, I've got to get out of here. Like, one of my biggest faults is that when something feels too hard or overwhelming, like, I just want to run away. Like, that's like my ultimate, not my ultimate, but my reaction straight away is to be like, I want to run away. And so I decided to get ready to go and do van life for the following year, and he was going to go up to YWAM. We ended up talking up in Sunshine Coast from Warrnambool. We ended up having a massive chat. So he spoke to his parents, and he's like, I just really feel like Raya and I could like be something. And so we ended up having a massive chat, and we decided that I was going to go and do my whole van life experience, and he was going to go to YWAM Sunshine Coast and do the DTS for 6 months. And then afterwards we'll come back together and we'll see whether God's still leading us together. And if not, we would have to make a lot of changes to our friendship, because at that time, like, so he had that many demands going on that I was like preparing all his meals, like doing all his meal prep, all his shopping. I was like helping clean his house, like do his housework. And like, I was just helping a lot. Because like, I love doing things anyway, and I love like caring for people. It's just like, it's just kind of like who I am. So I know it might sound weird doing something like that for one of my friends, but since we're just friends, but it's not weird if you know me, because it's just like what I like to do. My love language is food, guys. And I also was like, he's going to be stressed out and not get a good diet and not be able to get all these jobs done before he goes off to YWAM. And I just knew that God was going to do wonders in his life when he went there. So I was like, 100%, I'll do whatever it takes to be able to help you get there and to be healthy in the meantime. So that's what I was doing. And it ended up being 6 months of, man, it was a strange time. Also, like, COVID came, like that following year was when COVID came as well. But we didn't really talk much at all while I was doing van life and he was doing his DTS. We didn't really talk much, and to be honest, during those 6 months, I really actually did feel like God was like, yeah, like, I want you guys to be together. And so I think that made it worse when at the end of Jordan's school, he actually told me that he heard from God and it was a no, and it's going to be a no always. Like, they were his words. Like, it was heartbreaking, but at the same time relieving, because I was so nervous that I was going to make the wrong decision, that I was kind of like, oh, this way I don't even have to make a decision. Like, this is literally just like perfect, because now I can just go do my own thing, and that's like God answering for me, because I wasn't sure whether I was hearing God right or not. And so I ended up like going as far away as I could from him, because I really loved Sunny Coast, and Jordan and I had spoken about in the past about like starting up a cafe in Sunshine Coast, and you know, that was kind of where we pictured like doing all these awesome things together. So he was planning on staying there long term, because he decided like to volunteer for YWAM Sunshine Coast. So he signed up to do that, and so I was like, well, I've got to get as far away as I can from here. But so I might just continue my van trip more around Australia. I ended up making up to YWAM Townsville. Long story short, I ended up helping open up a cafe there, which was like a dream come true for me. It was such an amazing experience. So I really feel like God like used that for good, that time of my life. So I ended up being there and then doing my DTS, my YWAM at YWAM Townsville. And I ended up being there for, I think it was around about a year and a half or so altogether. And then on my 30th birthday was when I graduated. Sorry, I'm getting hit by a car now. On my 30th birthday was when I graduated from my DTS, and I went home, like pinned it home straight away, because I really missed my family. Like, COVID was still pretty bad in Victoria. It was really non-existent in Queensland, but like I was like, I don't even care that I'm going to go down and probably get locked down in the state, because like I just missed my family so much. So that was in July, and then literally later, sorry, this walk might be a bit more, because this story is going to go on for a little while, so I apologize in advance. But it was just another crazy time in my life. Like, at this time, Jordan and I hadn't spoken. Like, we decided, I said to him, I've got to delete you off like socials. I know it might seem immature, but it just had to be like a clean break for us, because we couldn't remain the same, we couldn't stay in the same kind of friendship that we were in, because it was like we're heading towards marriage, but if we decided that we're never going to get married, then like things had to change. So pretty much for that whole year and a half, we didn't really talk at all. Like, it's crazy to think of the fact that we didn't talk for that whole time. There was like a couple of messages here and there, like happy birthday and things like that, and that's about it. Anyway, so this is where it comes up to my point of life in my life, where for my birthday, my amazing Townsville friends bought me a skydiving voucher for Torquay in Victoria, because they knew I was going to head home. And that's when I asked my dad, did you want to do skydiving with me? And he said yes. And that's where that whole situation happened. I've spoken a lot about this skydiving accident on my Instagram, and also in some other YouTube videos. So if you do, like, go searching through my stuff if you want to know more information about it. But I'm also going to post a link to a video, a professional video that was made that tells the whole story. It's like Dad's whole testimony, his whole life, and it's just crazy. But then the skydiving accident, and it's me and Dad being interviewed. And it's a powerful story. You need to listen to it and watch it. So I'm going to post the link here. But it ended up being, so at the end of July was when Dad's skydiving accident was. So that was 2 years ago now. 3 years. 3 years. Oh my gosh, I'm so old. It was 3 years ago now. And I pretty much spent the next 6 months like helping Dad recover. Like, it was a massive time in our family's lives while like COVID was going on. So we legally couldn't really be at each other's house. I was staying with Mum and Dad, so it was fine. But the rest of our family were like, we've got to come over and see Dad. Like, it was just a messy time, really stressful, like lots of appointments. And at the same time, I started up a new cake business. That's what I was doing down in Warrnambool. Apart from PTing at a gym, I love making cakes. So I fully transformed that business and gave it under a new business name, and I really wanted to open up a cafe. So I remember This is probably about August or September. I actually messaged Jordan because, okay, Jordan is a chippy. He's like built all the things, like he's just built so many houses and renovated so many things, and he just like knows this kind of stuff. So I was looking in an industrial estate in Warrnambool to like buy like a shed, because I pictured a shed kind of cafe, like a kind of like skate kind of vibe. That's kind of the vibe that I wanted for my cafe. And so I called Jordan. I said, okay, I'm looking at this shed to buy. Like, I don't know, what I do first. Like, do I literally go and like get like bank approval? Do I work out how much, like how can I work out how much it's going to cost to deck it out as a cafe? And he actually, without me realizing at that time, he had been praying for the last couple of months about who he was meant to marry, and he really felt like God was saying it was going to be me. And I didn't know any of this, right? Because we hadn't talked. We talked the night after my dad's skydiving accident. He messaged me and he said, I'm praying for you guys so much. And I'm like, thank you. I sent him a video back just being like, thank you so much. Like, this is an update just so you know what to pray for. And apparently that was the message that he got. When he got that message, something changed in him, and he's like, I think that I'm meant to marry Raya. And that was in July, but I didn't know anything about it. I was just living my life down back home and like gonna just open up a cafe, and I ended up calling him in August, September-ish, and he gave me the best advice, and it just made me so excited. But I didn't realize that he was a little bit heartbroken in that moment, because he's like, wow, does that mean Raya's gonna be in Warrnambool? And like, I feel called to Queensland. Like, I think my future's in Queensland. So he's like, oh, I don't know whether we're gonna end up being together now. Anyway, a few months passed. We were chatting about like he had injuries, so I was like giving him exercises to do to help with his injuries, and we were just like kind of messaging and phone calling here and there, but it wasn't like the kind of friendship that we used to have. It was just like a simple kind of friendship. Anyway, he ended up coming down in December, like illegally crossing borders for COVID stuff, to renovate a house in South Australia. And then he came and helped renovate his sister's hair salon in Warrnambool. And she said to me, just so you know, Jordan's coming next week. And all I could think of was, oh my, because I'm really good friends with his family, by the way, which made it even stickier of a situation. But all I could think of was, oh my gosh, like, God, I don't want to see him. Like, he's going to want to hang out or something. Like, can we just not, like, can you just make sure, because Warrnambool's a small town, like, you see each other, you know what I mean? And I was like, can you please just help us not to see each other at all? Like, not to cross paths. I just don't want to see him. I don't know what I'm going to do or be like, or like, I would just rather not. And then the next day I prayed again, and I just felt like God say to me, like, Raya, why are you here on this earth? Like, I want you to be an encouragement. So I said, okay, fine. If you need me to see Jordan just to like encourage him in something, or, pray for him or whatever, then like make it really known to me that you want that you want me to speak to him. So I was just having an open heart, Anyway, long story short, he ended up messaging me so many days in a row. I was so busy. I was making cakes. It was Christmas season. Like, it was the busiest season for me, not only at the gym, but also just my cake business was like booming. And so I was like, I had that many orders. It was crazy and overwhelming that he like messaged me a few times, like, are we going to be able to hang out while I'm here? Anyway, I said, okay, I've got a half an hour spot free. I'm going to be at my church in the kitchen making cakes. We can go for a skateboard down to the beach and back in half an hour, and that's all I have. And so it was a really nice skateboard, like really beautiful. Just, we caught up, I asked him about how YWAM stuff was. He asked me how mine was, and because we did YWAM in 2 different places, our DTSs. And so we just caught up. Anyway, he said, when can we catch up again? And I was like, look, I'm so busy. Anyways, it was the day before Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve was my really busy day, where I had all my cake collections were pretty much getting picked up that day. And so the night before that, he's like, can we please like go have a fire, like get some of the young adults together and have a fire like the old days. And I was like, Jordan, I don't think you realize how many cakes I have to make. I was like, I'll be in the kitchen till whatever time. If you organize the fire with everyone else, I'll meet you there once I'm done, but it might not be till like 11 p.m. or something really late. And so he ended up surprising me at the kitchen. He came in at like 6 p.m. And helped me smash out our cake. So we smashed it out really, really fast. And then I was like, okay, so what time are we meeting people for the fire? And he's like, oh, I thought it'd just be us two. And I'm like, that's weird. Okay. Anyway, but I was like, okay, whatever. Like, maybe he just forgot to organize it. So we went and had dinner, like cooked like dinner on the fire. And he's like, Ray, there's something I need to talk to you about. Anyway, he ended up sharing with me his journal, all his journal notes and prayer notes that he'd been praying for the past 6 months. So that was from July till December. And it was all prayers that were like, him and me are meant to be together. Like, that was what God was saying. Like, God was like preparing him to be my husband and all these things. And I'm like, what? Like, that was the last thing that I thought was ever going to happen. I 100% was like, cut it off, like, nah, like, we'll never be together. And like, I'd met a whole heap of males in that short time, like in that couple of years before we hung out again. And no one ever, people say there's plenty of fish in the sea. Like, I was like a 32-year-old girl who was meeting so many young men, but like, I just, like, it's not, when I say meeting, we didn't go on dates or anything. I didn't go on any dates at all because I didn't see any potential in any male that I met. And so when he told me that, I was thinking, like, right now, if I was to get married to someone, like, Jordan is the only one that I would ever actually say yes to. Unless God was like, you need to say yes to this person. I'll be like, okay, I will. So it was just crazy. Anyways, that was Christmas Eve, the night before Christmas Eve. And then literally I spent the whole of January selling all my things, planning to move up to Sunshine Coast. Even though we were just dating, like, we knew we had to live in the same place to, like, see whether it was going to work. And, like, choosing who you're going to marry and spend the rest of your life with is such a massive decision that we did not take it lightly. Like, we knew each other very, very well. We literally were, like, best friends for a couple of years, to the point where we literally did everything together. So we knew the bad things about each other. Like, there was no like red flags popping up, because we literally knew all the good and the bad things about each other. Like, it was crazy. So I ended up moving up there, and things weren't great for a month. I think that Jordan was just very scared. And so for like the whole of February, it was just not looking like we were going to be together. But at the same time, I had so much peace about it. Like, I really did. I was like, look, I've moved up here, and like, I started on a soccer team, joined a soccer team. I got a job at an F45 studio. I made so many friends straight away. I was like, I can literally be here now without even being Jordan's girlfriend or Jordan's wife. Like, this is my home. And so I was really peaceful about it. I was just kind of like, we'll just see what happens. I'm not going to go and fight for him. Like, he can come to me if he really wants me that bad, because we didn't really talk too much when I first moved up there. And yeah, I was just thinking he didn't end up being interested again. But I think that he was just now that I look back, I think he was just very much nervous, because it is a massive decision to make. And at that time, both of us, like, even though we seen the potential of what it could be like being married, both of us weren't like fully physically attracted to each other. Like, I didn't have a desire to kiss him, and like, we didn't hold hands. Like, it was just kind of like we were still really close brothers and sisters. And so it was a real big faith journey of being like, we really feel like God's leading us together, and we'll trust that those emotions will come. So, you know how, like, you often hear people say, like, oh, I just was attracted to them straight away, and I just, like, I just wanted to be all over him straight away. And I really feel like God, like, purposely almost made it so that there was no physical attraction in that way, like, no drive to, like, just be, I don't know, it's just a weird time, but I think it was needed and necessary. So it ended up, when I was like not really giving him much back, I think that's when he realized, like, look, I've got to make a move on Raya, or else, like, someone else will snaffle her up. That's what I think anyway. We'll go with that. We'll see what he says about that, but that's what I think. So he ended up like messaging me all the time. Like, I think he's definitely an all or nothing kind of guy. He's all in or all out. There's no middle ground with him. I love that about him though. He's just like, just direct, you know? And so he ended up starting, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a bit overwhelming. He just wanted to hang out every night. I'm like, okay, like, I will, but I mean, like, I don't know where this is headed. Anyway, finally we went on a Easter camping trip with his siblings and some of his cousins, because again, I'm really close with them all. And he ended up literally proposing to me on that trip. So again, so random. Apparently he'd bought the ring when he was in Warrnambool at Christmas time the year before. And I didn't even realize. So that was like Christmas, we started dating. Easter, we got engaged. And then in June, we got married. So it all happened within literally 6 months. But again, like, it was a lot of like prayer time, a lot of time apart, like a couple of years, not even talking. And just like obviously waiting for God's perfect timing, because his timing really is perfect. There was a lot of, I think, both of us not hearing God properly, but taking steps of faith anyway. Our attraction started coming like full on, like a few weeks before we got married. We just like all of a sudden just were obsessed with each other. And so I was like, that's perfect timing too, because it helped us really keep our boundaries, because both of us being Christians, like we didn't want to go past any certain, I can just say it. I'm just going to say it. You guys all know that I'm Christian, so I'm just going to say it. But we didn't want to have sex before marriage. We wanted to really keep ourselves like as pure as possible before we got married. And so I really feel like God kind of protected us. And then all of a sudden, in the last few weeks, like we had to actually access our self-control, because that's when we were like, yes, I'm in love with you. And it's really beautiful. Anyways, I can go more details into anything. If you have any other questions, please comment. I'm sorry that this walk was a little bit longer than normal. Hopefully I had time to fit it all in. But yeah, if you have any questions, please just let me know in the comment section, and I can like do another video or just answer. But I'm really encouraged, like I feel really encouraged to kind of share with people who are single, like literally this is the biggest decision of your life. Like don't rush into it. Seek the Lord. If you're a Christian, definitely seek the Lord, and don't be scared of like when it's a closed door, because it may be a closed door forever, but also may be closed door for a season, and then the door may open later. So yeah, anyways, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, because I will be posting these videos each week, as well as like other workout videos and things like that as well. And yeah, like I just want to do life with you guys and encourage each other to be our healthiest and happiest self. That's my goal. So I'll see you next time. Bye.